News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moscow.
Karen, we begin with politics and a Texas-sized result in the Republican primary runoff for Senate. With nearly all votes counted, State Attorney General Ken Paxton trounced four-term incumbent John Cornyn 63.9% to 36.1%. Paxton picked up President Trump's endorsement just last week. In his victory speech last night, Paxton gave the president the credit.
President Trump is the leader of our party, and his endorsement in this is the most powerful force in politics. And I'm honored to have his support, and I look forward to working with him in the Senate to deliver for Texas.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton will now face Democrat James Tallarico in the general election, and Tallarico is already coming out swinging.
3 years ago, Ken Paxton was impeached by his own party for using his public office to enrich himself and his donors at the expense of the people. That kind of corruption is the rot at the core of this broken system.
Democrat James Tallarico posted that on YouTube last night after Paxton's victory. Bloomberg Texas Bureau Chief Julie Fine says John Cornyn's loss will mean a big change in the Senate.
This is somebody that rose the ranks of leadership, a trusted advisor of Mitch McConnell, lost to John Thune to become the speaker right now. So it's going to be a major, major difference for the state of Texas. The fact that Ken Paxton, who at times was an embattled attorney general, who had a share of legal problems, won by double digits, really shows you where this race ended up.
Bloomberg's Julie Fine reports Cornyn highlighted his pro-Trump voting record during the campaign and argued that Paxton won't be able to raise enough money against Tallarico. That argument came up short last night.
Well, Nathan, the Senate runoff wasn't the only race to watch in Texas last night. In the House, longtime Democratic Congressman Al Green was ousted in a generational contest against 38-year-old Democrat Christian Menifee. Green was squeezed into a new district thanks to Texas Republicans' midterm redistricting efforts. With nearly all votes counted, Menifee took 69.6% to Green's 30.5%. Former Congressman Colin Allred defeated freshman Democrat Julie Johnson 53.9 to 46.1% in the Dallas area district that he left to run for Senate in 2024. And in the Republican runoff to succeed Ken Paxton as Attorney General, State Senator Mays Middleton beat Congressman Chip Roy 55.2 to 44.8%.
Now, Karen, let's get caught up on the latest on the war with Iran. The U.S. is touting progress on a peace deal even after fresh skirmishes around the Strait of Hormuz. Bloomberg Middle East managing editor Paul Wallace reports a number of sticking points remain in the way of a deal.
One of them relates to, and this is a big one, the Strait itself. And it is about whether the Iranians will allow free passage of ships through the waterway if and when there's an interim deal with the U.S. Now, the U.S. and Arab states and Europe and, frankly, the rest of the world, they want and demand that ships have free passage through the Strait. But Iran is insisting on some kind of control.
And Bloomberg's Paul Wallace reports Iran's nuclear program is another bone of contention. A top member of Iran's nuclear negotiating team says his country's highly enriched uranium stockpile is not on the agenda in U.S. talks, and until they've agreed on all issues, they consider that they've agreed on nothing. The official spoke to reporters in Moscow at Russia's International Security Forum.
Well, in other news this morning, Nathan, Joe Biden suing the Justice Department. The former president is trying to block officials from sharing audio recordings and transcripts of interviews he gave for a memoir project with a conservative advocacy group and Republicans in Congress. The lawsuit, which pits a former president against his successor's administration, comes amid a long-running legal fight over a public records request for the materials by the Heritage Foundation. Biden filed his own legal challenge to stop the disclosure, which is set to happen on June 15th.
Well, Karen, tariff refunds are on the way right now. More than $20 billion is headed to importers who successfully filed claims using the new web portal developed by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The agency is in the process of issuing refunds to importers who paid as much as $166 billion across more than 53 million import entries. The refund process gained significance after the Supreme Court struck down portions of President Trump's tariffs.
Let's turn to the markets now, Nathan, where futures are higher following another chip-fueled rally for tech stocks. And Bloomberg's John Tucker joins us with the latest. John, good morning.
Good morning, Karen. Call it a chip frenzy. Investors are betting the AI boom is going to lead to a sustained revaluation of the industry. Micron Technology was the best performing stock in the S&P 500 in yesterday's session, finishing up more than 19%. It's up 213% so far this year and has now crossed above a market valuation of $1 trillion. It was joined by SK Hynix in that exclusive club. Samsung Electronics hit that milestone earlier this month. These are the three leading makers of high bandwidth memory. And with forecasts of memory shortages to last through 2027, analysts say these companies will now have remarkable pricing power over the world's largest tech companies. In New York, I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.